Hello, everyone. My name is Andreas Tias. Me and Will are back again for a spectacular Marvel Plus talk. This time around, we're doing a movie discussion on, of course, this year's the 20th anniversary slash, uh, big year for our Man of Fear, or yeah, Man Without Fear,
Mhm.
Daredevil himself, 2003, Ben Affleck's Daredevil. Will, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. And I guess I oh my god, 20 years since this movie. I think this is like my most reviewed Marvel when I was growing up. I seen this movie so many times when I was growing up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean,
Oh,
cuz
wow.
I mean Daredevil cuz this Spider-Man and then yeah, and some of the X-Men were kind of like my regular viewing so many times cuz I love
Hmm.
those characters.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it's before the MCU. Like the top characters you usually hear from Marvel was Spider-Man, X-Men, Fantastic Four,
Hmm.
Hulk, and then Daredevil was kind of like in that discussion because he
Hmm.
was like the Batman for the Marvel, and then Spider-Man was the Superman for Marvel.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, and I mean, this movie just had. I think this movie like really had like a cool like it did such a good job of combining the comic bookiness but trying to be grounded, which we'll get into. That's sort of the downfall of this movie, but I felt like it really felt like a comic book movie came to life, you know.
Hmm.
Not literally like Stanley's Hulk that same year. So so but yeah, I'm very curious to discuss this. I mean, this year, I think this year or maybe next year, the Daredevil's 60th anniversary is coming around. So it'd be cool to discuss this movie, and this movie's 20 years old. So
Yeah.
we'll discuss how if it stands still or it's aged pretty rough. Like a lot of mid 2000 films happen.
Hmm.
So but yeah, but what? So, what was it like for you to like? Is this your first time watching this movie, or is this like your like multiple
Uh,
time?
I think it's my first time. There's a chance I
What?
caught it on like
Okay,
FX back in the day.
okay,
But I'm pretty sure it's the first time. Yeah, definitely the
okay,
first time since I've been like more familiar with Daredevil. So,
okay. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. Um, I mean, I will say, this one is the better. Like, it's not the best Marvel movie during the mid 2000s, but like, it's a
uh,
better offering than some we got during that time, you know?
I I guess I liked it better than uh, well,
I mean,
maybe maybe Hulk.
yeah, I mean, I like things about the Alien Hulk, but like it's
Hmm.
not like a summer blockbuster movie like this
Yeah,
one. So
yeah.
yeah.
Maybe Ghost Rider. I would probably lump in there, and I think this was more fun than that.
Oh my God, same
Uh,
director that did that.
right. Yeah. Um, and then it's better than some of the X-Men sequels.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is better than X-Men 3.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
yeah, it's better than Elektra. I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
I I don't know if you've seen that movie, but
I
yeah,
haven't, but it's famously pretty bad.
yeah. It's oh my God, like it's not as bad as Catwoman.
Okay.
It ju- it's like it it just is a very dull movie to watch.
Hmm.
Like it has so many of the things you want for a lecture film, but it's so like not invested on like the filmmakers and everyone else involved in it is like so not invested doing the movie, like it's
Hmm.
very stereotypical female superhero led film, not as bad as Catwoman, but like you got a kid as like the main crutch of the film, and it's like it's like, but when we get to that movie, it's like it's so dull and hollow. Like it's such a hollow experience watching it.
Mm.
It's like there's a couple of things that are cool. Like I actually like surprised they pulled off the red costume for Elektra. I think it's the best like monetization of it, and it's good.
Hmm.
Jason Isaacs in that movie for just a couple of minutes. I didn't realize that like last year.
Huh.
Um, yeah, like it was my when my dad was in the hospital. There was like they were showing Elektra,
Hmm.
and then I was recognizing that person. I was like, oh wait a minute, Jesse Isaacs is in this movie. It's just so bizarre, and same thing here with this movie, Daredevil. Like there's so many blinking most of the cameos. Like yeah, like we got the Stan Lee thing here, but like I didn't recognize Frank Miller in this movie. Like oh
Mm.
my yeah. Um, and then what is it? Kevin Smith, of course, his cameo here
I
is
noticed him as the coroner.
yeah. Oh, did you know his name?
I remember catching it like when they said it in the movie, but I don't remember what it was.
It was Kirby.
Right.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. No, there were a lot of names of like Marvel writers that kept popping up throughout the movie.
Oh, I know. I think it
Like
was a couple.
Quesada kept coming
Oh
up.
yeah, Joe Quesada, the rapist is
Right.
also Joe Quesada. That
Yeah.
that I just discovered just today. I was like, oh wait a minute, it's oh my god, that's so funny. They just made a horrible criminal named Joe Quesada. Oh my god, yeah. The who was it? The Fixer, who is played by the actor that's seen in Breaking Bad slash Better Call Saul. Like he name drops all the writers like Bendis, Miller, and then um Ramia. I think that
Yeah.
was name drop.
Hmm.
Um, like that is like very like just I don't think I ever seen a movie where they just name drop like the pillar for writers slash writers of some you know character. Like I never seen that. That's just so cool. Like
Hmm.
I thought that about this movie.
Yeah. No, it like worked well because if you didn't have that context, it just sounded like they were just using names that were like decently common. Like it didn't feel forced. But then if you did know the reference, you were like, oh, hey,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's so true. That's yeah. More super movies are doing them now.
Hmm.
Like I mean like in the Batman movies or in the games you usually see the towns or street addresses
Hmm.
naming after that. Like famously the like if you hear Robinson Park sometimes like the
Hmm.
Robinson Park is referencing Jerry Robinson, the co-creator for the Joker. And then recently the Batman when we have that like what was it the Riddler presentation he was showing to Batman and then Gordon during that like raid in drug like the mansion or something like that for the orphanage.
Hmm.
Like you see the firm called Miller and Moore firm, and obviously that's referencing Frank Miller and Alan Moore during that time. Like it was some document that this fireman is naming those characters. But yeah. I mean, I every time we see Stanley, it's like it was always funny to me. We never seen a couple of comic character like creators never have cameos, but like we actually got two that was like very prominent for Daredevil. Like Frank Miller got one. Um, of course, that's him. He got hit by Bullseye when Bullseye was trying to get a bike.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's Frank Miller. And then of course, Kevin Smith is here. He's playing the more Cole Kirby, and that was kind of cool because he
Hmm.
did I think Guardian Angel, right? That's the comic book that sort of influenced this movie. Oh, and that's another thing that I appreciate about this. Like I um recreating a comic panel, like a very famous scene, like kind of like how Batman v Superman copied the Dark Knight Returns cover
Hmm.
when in the Thunder. Here you see, of course, Daredevil like just beaten up and see him holding in the cross in the church. Like
Hmm.
building, like that's directly from Garner Angel. Like that's
Yeah,
so
I've seen that image. Yeah.
yeah. So I will give this I think this would be a good way to enter, but the director Mark Steven Johnson, I think he did a good job here. I think he um did a really awesome job of being faithful slash updating Daredevil in a good way. Like nothing is really that bad. Like say like Annalise Hulk or Ghost Rider with
Hmm.
Nicolas Cage. Here it's like pretty like very faithful. And like like maybe people will kind of question like where's Dick or
Hmm.
the hand, and people have to understand that like for me, I didn't know this, but like that's before, like it came after Daredevil came, in the '60s. Like that's all Frank Miller stuff, and I don't think they. I mean, they did Elektra here, but like I don't think they just didn't have time to do the hand and and stick in this movie.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like it, could be in the sequel, which we didn't get. So, oh, did it bug you that they didn't have stick here and the hand in this first adaptation?
I did notice it. I don't know if it bothered me. It seemed like they
Hmm.
were really trying to like emphasize the relationship with his father more.
Yeah,
Although that didn't really go anywhere. I don't know. Like it kind of did because the Kingpin had killed him, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah. I, well, it's kind of interesting. I mentioned Batman v Superman. Um,
Hmm.
there was a much more focus on Matt's lawyer persona. There's a director's cut.
Hmm. Yeah, I saw that there was one, but
Yeah,
it wasn't available on HBO
yeah.
Max.
No, no. That's where you watch FX. They usually show this just to extend time in TV
Hmm.
schedule. I seen the cut just like a few times, and I will briefly touch upon it. Um, like because this movie like not only focus on the origin story, they focus a lot on the romance, um, and then they like seemingly have this case that that Matt and how you say it Foggy are doing, but then it doesn't go anywhere in this movie because
Hmm.
they cut so much of the portion because Kool-Aid was in the movie. He's actually a subject or a client for the Foggy, the Nelson and Murdock farm,
Hmm.
but it is completely cut out from the theatrical cut of the film, and it was so important because you get more Cameron in this movie, which we've briefly seen. Um, I don't know
Hmm.
who's the actress that plays her, but that's Karen Page.
It
Um,
was Ellen Pompeo from Grey's Anatomy.
oh, that's who she
Yeah,
is.
like the lead from Grey's Anatomy.
Currently, right?
No, she's been the lead the whole time.
Wow. Oh my God, she looks so young in this. Like,
Well, it was
oh
20 years ago.
yeah,
She's it's like the longest role
role.
anyone's
Yeah.
ever had on TV.
Oh my God. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. Because I know the show premiered 2005. That's done. Oh my God, it's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah, a lot of familiar faces this movie. But yeah, so like we got more of that, and yeah. I mean, I think they do a good job of conveying the dad and son relationship.
Hmm.
Like it's I like if you wanted to expand upon it, which could be easily saved for a sequel. Like, I mean, we never really addressed the mother, and if they were going to follow, was it Born Again,
Hmm.
as a sequel, possibly, like that's where we'll probably get more development with the dad and all that. I think this was a good. Like, I think they cover enough the father and son relationship, and I think it was conveyed very well in this movie. You know,
Hmm.
um, I don't think it was like it didn't go anywhere. I think it actually like went in a logical like origin direction really, and it's like okay, he looked up to his dad and like he sold him some of his like his way of Matt should take his life, be a smart person and not do the fighting
Hmm.
like he did, which is so ironic. As always with Daredevil, it's like he actually takes it anyway, but in a different way than his dad did. So, but yeah, and then yeah, I don't know. I mean, I need to watch the show, the Netflix show. I mean, like the first season did a good job of conveying the father son, right? Like,
Hmm.
so like if you want more of that, like I think first season, like as always, a great first season did such a good job of going in depth with that. And same thing with Wilson Fisk,
Hmm.
Kingpin and his dad as well. So I think here is just like it's a very typical origin story direction that is actually very good. I I I think Steven actually did a good job with the origin story. Like it's actually one of the better ones. Like it's better than the Hulk. It's better
Hmm.
than Ghostwire. It's better than some of the recent MCU origin stories. You know, like
Yeah.
I, it's better
Yeah.
than Captain Marvel.
Hmm.
Like I, that's the thing that's so cool. This is pre Batman Begins. Like they started doing a non-linear like narrative. Like we begin towards the end, and then we would just jump back to timelines.
Hmm.
Um, which I don't know if it's as good as Batman Begins. Like I feel like there's just a lot you have to take from this movie.
Hmm.
So I don't know. But what do you think about the origin? Did like yeah, like it's better than some of the other ones we have seen recently.
Yeah, I think so.
Huh.
Um, yeah, I don't know if it's like much better, but
Yeah. Uh,
yeah,
um,
I don't
I mean,
know.
it's not as better as the Raimi Spider-Man film.
No,
Uh,
yeah, I think like of that era, the Raimi Spider-Man movie is probably the best.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Ironically, I see them this weekend. I,
yeah,
s- I
you
rewatched
watched
the
them?
first. Yeah, I rewatched the first two, half of Spider-Man 3. I cannot believe I saw the emo dance again, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, I the first Spider-Man, I rewatched the Raimi Spider-Man. Like it just like clips so fast, but when it takes a breather, like for like a quieter moment, it does it so good.
Hmm.
Like the scene in the hospital in the first film where he talks to Aunt May. That's a really great scene, and then the one with Mary J about like him talking like he knows Spider-Man. Like that's still good. And
Yeah, it's um, Raimi. I remember sometime, like in some interviews, Stan Lee described the Amazing Spider-Man comic books as like a soap opera with superheroes in it.
yeah,
And I feel like Sam Raimi gets that like interpersonal stuff down better than any of the other uh like series.
yeah,
Um yeah,
yeah.
he really treats the characters as like like real people with like
Real problems.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, especially Spider-Man 2. Like
Hmm.
you never have a film that discuss foreclosure or uh like sacrifice in such a deep way and a
Hmm.
very like in executed right like Spider-Man 2 does,
Hmm.
you know? Like and I think one of the problems that this film I don't know if this film is trying to copy Spider-Man because
I'm sure it was a little bit because that
yeah, a
was
little
like
bit.
incredibly successful.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. This was supposed to be a low budget film, but because of that film's success, they increased it. And in terms of, more action and all that. My problem with this film is like, eh, I like, I think one of the things that we sure can give the first X-Men film right is the tone. I think this movie has a really bad tone, uh,
Yes,
depth.
absolutely.
Like you got like they're trying to be this dark and gritty that is right for Daredevil,
Right.
but then you have these campy scenes that's so out of left field.
Man, the scene where he and Elektra are like fighting in the
Oh
playground.
no, I
Oh my
know.
God.
Yeah, I know.
What was I watching?
Yeah, I I will take that over the basketball scene and Catwoman. I
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as bad as that, but like it's just too campy and just it should not be in this movie, you know?
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, and I gotta say, fortunately for this film, it feels dated with all the soundtrack music and
I was
eh,
watching it, and about like halfway through, I was thinking like this movie looks and sounds like it's an Evanescence music video, and then an Evanescence song started playing. I couldn't do it.
oh yeah, I
Oh,
know. Oh my god. And and it was weird that the composer he did The Crow. Uh
okay.
yeah, and the
Yeah.
score here is great. And
Hmm.
like yeah, this movie just it's so bizarre. Like and then this is where this is where it's a good time to address the director's cut. The director's cut is much more consistent with its tone. Like it's
Okay.
more serious and dark. Um, because they're doing a investigation, like a court investigation, and it's very war slash mystery,
Hmm.
and it's key, and so like the sacrifice that's not in what you see in the theatrical cut, that's not in the director's cut, is the romance between Elektra and Matt, which
Hmm.
I think is better. I don't know, like when we get to the Elektra and Ben or Matt relationship, I I don't mind that. I think it's the strongest aspect of this movie, but I don't know. We'll get to that, uh, but yeah, I think the director's cut is much stronger than this theatrical cut because it's all action. Like it's just action, action, quiet moment, and like how you say it. Um, the director's cut actually explains he like why he doesn't you know, go with like Elektra is
Hmm.
much more like why he goes to sleep with her makes more sense in the director's cut than the theatrical cut. Because it's just where Edit when he hears the person getting beat up, and then he's with Elektra with the rain and all that, and that scene always bothered me for some reason, and then it cuts into like them having this like romantic scene, like making love, and
Hmm.
it, it's much better in the director's cut. So yeah, and because like the bar fight, like when he is trying to like hurt Joe Casada, like
Hmm.
that scene alone completely tells you how tone deaf it is. Like, okay, it's very dark and gritty, but then he does these really like outlandish stunts slash like CGI, like hybrid character doing these like impossible things that a human
Hmm.
cannot do, and then you have this like sound like this Nickelback song playing
Hmm.
in the background, and it's just so over the place, and it's like it just oh my god, so tone deaf completely.
Yeah. Very inconsistent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I feel like that's one of the reason that this film sort of falters. Is it's just like it's very compromised kind of film, fortunately.
Hmm.
So I mean, and yeah, which is sad because I like some of the casting here. I mean, uh, I mean, let's get this over with. But like, I really like Colin Farrell as Bullseye and the late great Michael Clarke Duncan as Kingpin. Like, those are the best casting for a villain's role.
Yeah, I really liked Michael Clarke Duncan as Kingpin. I thought he did a good job.
Yep.
Um, yeah, he definitely gets the like imposing figure and like the deep voice, and
Hmm.
yeah, he gets the gravitas.
Yeah.
I wasn't really sold on Colin Farrell as Bullseye.
I
Uh,
know. It's gonna be a difference between us. Yeah, go ahead,
yeah,
go ahead.
it's just, and it's nothing. Like obviously, Colin Farrell's like an incredibly talented actor,
Oh yeah,
um,
oh god,
and
he's
Bullseye is
great.
such a cool character. Like I love Bullseye in the Netflix show.
Oh yeah,
It's just I really there's it's just so campy in this movie. It's so like over the top, and I don't know. It's
yeah,
just like it wasn't my cup of tea, but
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, this is like, I'll take California over anything from this movie. Like, I mean, at least he's consistent. Like, that's the thing I appreciate about him. And his penguin performance, like, it's crazy.
Yeah, again, he's an incredible actor.
Oh yeah, I love him as a dramatic actor. He's great,
Hmm.
and I'm so happy for him. He's having a great year. Like, he had a great 2020 year, and I'm
Hmm.
very happy for him. Yeah, oh man, uh, uh, I agree with you about the Michael Clarke Duncan. I really miss him. I think he's a great actor. He
Hmm.
was right for Kingpin. Uh, and it was funny. Like, I don't know if this is from the comics or not, but like, it's cool that in this movie he has like a company called Fisk Corp. That's so
Hmm.
cool. Um, and I think he really gives Kingpin this menace and like threat that's pretty good. I want to address the director's cut. This performance in the director's cut is much better because in the director's cut is sort of over camp, but where I think the director cut is a much better performance of this Kingpin. So
Hmm.
I want to address that. Um, with Bullseye, I mean, first off, the costume. That's like one of the glaring things. I don't mind. I don't know your mind or you don't like this is the forehead being the
No,
symbol. Oh, okay, okay. So
did not did not
uh,
like it.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. Like, I mean, it shows how crazy he is. Like, to do that, like scarring
I,
himself. But
yeah, I just think it's a little over the top. But
yeah, yeah. Um, I, I don't know. I just it was if we're not gonna get his costume, like I at least appreciate they like put that symbol somewhere. Um,
hmm.
I dug the knife belt, like the blade, like those like boomerang blades he had in his
Hmm.
belt. Like I
Yeah.
like like that. I appreciate they added in because
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean he's like Deadshot, right? Like he's the most like marks person, and he used
Hmm.
any kind of weapon around his like like where he can able to get is just I think they nailed that perfectly. Like he hits like I think they nailed his obsession of like he is so good at hitting. When he
Hmm.
misses, it's like it really ticks him off. I think that's like conveyed so well in this movie, you know.
Yeah.
So I think they did a good job with that. Um, I I guess one thing that's so weird because with Colin Farrell, like he always plays American voices, or
Hmm.
like this movie, totally forgot he's using his Irish accent
Hmm.
in this movie. Uh, uh, during his early stages of his career, this during this time of 2003, so it's so weird because like Bullseye is American and here you have this Irish Bullseye, which I don't mind. I think it like fits well with this version. But yeah, I don't know. His coat is okay. I mean, I don't know. A lot of leather in this movie, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, so I think the villains are, A plus for me. I think they're the saving grace for this movie. Um, but now let's get into our main character that we love, and I'm very curious about this one. Um, Ben Affleck as Daredevil. I I think he's good in this role. I did not know people like just like the Batman role.
Hmm.
They think he's unsuitable, and I think he's actually right in the role. I just don't think he has the material or the very strong creative team that he has that just makes his version be definitive.
Hmm.
There's just a lot of strikes about this version, Ben, for Matt Murdock.
Hmm.
Compared to Charlie Cox, where his version is just so comic book accurate, but like just modernized. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your opinion on Ben Affleck's performance as Daredevil and just in general?
I mean, I agree that it really is the material that he was given that like
Yeah.
brings it down. But well, um, I liked him as like Matt Murdock, the lawyer, like the scene
Mm,
where with him and Foggy like in the cafe. I thought that was good. I thought
yes.
he had like the right kind of charisma.
Yeah.
Um, but just for some reason, like just the second he put on the Daredevil suit, I just couldn't
Yeah.
take
Couldn't
him
take.
seriously. I don't know why.
I I don't know. Like for me, like I don't know. Like I mean, Matt talks in the Daredevil costume in Netflix.
Hmm.
Maybe it's because with Ben, it's like they just do the canonical sin of like giving him these punchlines or this like one-liners that should
Right.
not be for Daredevil.
Right. Yeah. He's not quippy. He's
Exactly.
not overly quippy.
Yeah, and I feel like Ben cannot really pull that off. Where like it's weird. Like seeing Charlie Cox again and She Hulk. He pulls that so well.
Hmm.
Like he fits so well with the MC, like especially in the MCU.
Hmm.
And I don't think Ben just has that. And then uh, of course like uh the like just my problem with the Arrowverse, like particularly with Green Arrow and say his version of Batman and the defunct DCU, they
Hmm.
have a tough time of handling Daredevil being the killer slash becoming the hero. Like he kills people in this movie, like outright.
Hmm.
And I don't have a problem with my heroes killing people, but if you're trying to make that as your main crutch of the story, like for your main protagonist to learn something about it,
Hmm.
like it needs to be consistent and I don't think this movie does that pretty well. I
Hmm.
don't think because it's like he throws Bullseye out the window and like he doesn't know if he kills him. You know, where the
Hmm.
Kingpin makes sense. Like I like the way he stopped himself to understand true justice. But I don't know. Like I don't think the movie conveyed that well in the film, where something like Charlie Cox version, like we know definitively how how bad Daredevil, like the character, like the role of the Daredevil role is really bad for Matt as a
Hmm.
person in the Netflix shows, which is
Hmm.
so good in conveying in those 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Here I don't think it's conveyed as bad as well. What do
Yeah.
you think?
I mean, I do think we should just like say that obviously you're going to have way more time to develop that sort of thing in a 3 season TV show with 13 hours of television for each season.
Oh, that's yeah, that's true.
Like, but that being said, I still think they could have done much better in the time that they did have.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like I mean, because I brought up Batman Begins just early,
Hmm.
like that movie addresses the Batman kill rule pretty exceptional in that film with
Hmm.
the villains they had with the League of Shadows and Ra's al Ghul, and like there's like in his conversation with Rachel towards the end about how he now knows the difference between justice and vengeance.
Hmm.
And same thing with the Batman with Robert Pattinson. Like he need to learn, like he needs to be the symbol of hope and be a hero for the Gotham. Not being vengeance.
Hmm. Yeah.
Here it's just like it's just like we're not. Like they're struggling the dark gritty over the very goofy combo heightened you know world that they're balancing, which they're not.
Hmm.
So but yeah. Um I felt so bad with Ben. I mean, just like Jared Leto. Well, I mean, I don't know about Jared Leto, but I think Ben is such a good actor, and I
Hmm.
think he's definitely perfect for Batman and Daredevil. I just wish he had the strong creating like Sam Raimi or Christopher Nolan and that type of person to take him in such a successful career as a superhero,
Hmm.
actor.
Yeah,
Just it's just sad, that he was unable to achieve that, with these movies.
hmm.
Um, and I mean, at least with the Batman, he had a great costume. Uh,
True.
yeah, I kind of wonder about this costume, the Daredevil one. Um, what's your opinion on this costume, this version?
Uh, I don't
I
think the cowl was very flattering for Ben Affleck.
No.
Um, but I thought the suit itself um, was fine. Like I prefer Charlie Cox's, but
Hmm. Yeah,
um, I thought this
yeah,
was good and more like comic accurate. So,
yeah. I think the best thing about this, um, for me, is the eyes in the cowl. Like
mm,
they really have a good shot on that.
hmm.
Even like rewatching it yesterday and a little bit today. Um, when we see him at top of the church and like you can see the red eyes
Hmm.
when the light projects on him from the police helicopter.
Hmm.
It is so cool, and I think the like that really works. And
Yeah,
like
it's a
what
good detail.
yeah, like I like how the eyes pop up when you see him because it looks
Hmm.
so cool, and it's like that's how I see Daredevil in the comics with the red eyes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I agreed. The Kyle is just too small. I just I think I think the Carol from the Netflix are so much better.
Hmm.
Um, I I don't know why, but like it was always a weird decision for me from the creators for this movie to make the two D's small. Like like why can't you just make it bigger?
Yeah.
Like that's the one part I'm like I felt like it was just like the X-Men costumes have their X's in their chests, depending on who has it.
Hmm.
Like Wolverine has it and looks good on him.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. I feel like that creative decision was weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, the suit looks good. I mean, I like the shade of red they have in the suit. Well, one thing I will say that they definitely got it right is the Billy cups, the sticks
Hmm.
he has. Like that's good. They nailed that perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think I try to remember. I'm trying to think. I don't think She-Hulk, like we see them. He used it like like the wire or like he just used the sticks to just beat people, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like
They're still.
swords.
Yeah. They were more like clubs and less like
Like
there wasn't a grappling hook attachment.
yeah,
Um, yeah.
yeah. Like I will give that. I will give this movie that than like those
Yeah.
other ones. I
Yeah. I don't know. Like the the Netflix Daredevil was always like more grounded
yeah,
than this one would be,
yeah.
which I think is why they do that. But yeah, no, it'd be nice since it seems like they're gonna make the Marvel Studios version a little more like comic booky. Uh, I
Yeah,
think they'll start doing stuff like that.
yeah. I can see them take more like Mark Waid's run of Daredevil, like
Mm,
how he was trying to make Matt be more happy and such in that run.
right.
I can see that possible. And mix of the early Stanley and the like Steve Jack Kirby run of Daredevil before the more Frank Miller stuff came around.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, I and then I mean, it's very interesting to look back on these movies because how special effects came. so far during the mid 2000s.
Hmm.
I really dug. I always liked this. The reason I repeated watched this movie so many times was the way they convey the senses for Daredevil, his five senses, and like
Hmm.
how like I really dug this in this movie. Like I really like how they did it here. Um,
Hmm.
and like when he gets affected by the the radioactive material, and
Hmm.
like and then him waking up from the hospital, like it's so great scene. Like I think they nailed the whole five senses of Daredevil so perfectly in this movie.
Yeah, no, I like that too. The visuals were a little dated,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, they are.
but the concept was solid.
Yeah, yeah, and they definitely nailed that perfectly in this movie. You
Hmm.
know, um, so such. Um, but yeah, so I think that's pretty good. Yeah, and I don't mind being blue. I sort of like that.
Hmm.
I think I prefer that over the what the Netflix did. I mean, the superpowers. I mean, I don't know how blind people I don't know how they like when they're blind, like how darkness is for them, and like how you interpret that. Like I don't know. I mean, so I'm kind of curious about that. But yeah, so yeah, we discussed Ben. Let's get into Elektra. Now,
Hmm.
this one, I mean, it's funny. Like these two got married,
Hmm.
Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner.
Yeah.
Um, and this, a lot of people forget that Elektra was sort of the first female Marvel-led film
Hmm.
before Captain Marvel. So, um,
Oh man, that's such a big gap between those movies.
yeah,
Is that 14 years?
yeah,
Wasn't it?
2005 to 2019. That that's because like DC had two solo films prior to Wonder Woman, like
Yeah.
'84 Supergirl and then 2004 Catwoman, and
That is
yeah,
too
so
long and not enough. Oh
yeah,
man. All
yeah,
right.
yeah. It's oh my god, yeah. But I will confess, I think Elektra was a better female-led film over Catwoman. Um, I mean,
It's a low bar.
yeah. So it's a very low bar. I mean, it's second high. I mean, I'm like ranking like the early days of superhero films. Female
Hmm.
is second after Supergirl, the Hamlet Slayer run.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it's not here there. And I really like Jennifer Garner's portrayal here. I dug her. Like the fact that she were was like she had brown eyes in real life. She wore green eye contacts to just match the comic book counterpart.
Mm.
So I really dug her. I think she was a really good casting. I do like the other actress, Miss Young, from the Netflix show, but
Mm.
I think Jennifer Garner is a really good pick, and I think she was like the best one, and it makes sense to spawn uh Elektra to a film and being the first because it's just a lot easier to do than some of the other female superheroes because of their powers and or why not
Hmm.
um but yeah and just I mean just like the season two they adapt her the famous arc of her dying in this movie
Hmm.
which I'm shocked they did that. Like you think they were gonna do that for a sequel, but I I totally forgot about that. They did this here, and but anyway, what do you think about Jennifer Garner? It's Elektra.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think it's similar to Ben Affleck, where like I know
mm,
that she's like a good actress. She's like capable of stuff, but the material they gave her was just not great. But
yeah,
she
yeah,
did
yeah,
all right within that.
yeah. What's your opinion on the romance? Like, I, I mean, I think it's better than like a lot of the MCU romance.
Mhm.
I
I mean, they definitely had chemistry.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
true.
something.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
which is
Um,
like you would hope because they were married for,
for a long
over a
time.
decade.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
um, yeah,
yeah,
did they meet on this film? Like, is
yeah.
that
They met. Like, well, it's so bizarre. Like he was dating Jennifer Lopez during this
right?
time, and then
Famously.
yeah, famously, and yeah, and then this is how they met, and then I think they get married around '05 or something like that. So,
Okay.
uh, yeah. Oh, now I'm curious. Hold on. Let me pull out my notes here. Uh, but yeah, so I agree. They have chemistry. Let's see. Yes. So she gets
Oh, they
married to
were.
yeah. Oh, sorry.
Sorry,
No.
sorry. No, it's
You
they
know.
were in Pearl Harbor together before they were in Daredevil.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That I discovered just today. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, she's a blubber. I'm like, oh my god, it's just so. Oh my god. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Mm.
you know who she married? But she got divorced. Him. Scott. Flowery. The
Foley?
yeah, fully. Like it's
Oh, oh, wow. Yeah,
yeah.
I know him from Scrubs, but
Yeah, yeah. Um, I know him from his show that I really like that I wish they continued this was Whiskey and Cavalier.
yeah,
Um,
that, I mean, it's made by the same guy that made Scrubs.
oh really? Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Um,
and like Ted Lasso, and
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
I'm looking at his. I see him in area. Like I see him in Law and Order SVU. I saw him there.
Hmm.
And then I know him. Of course, he's in Scream 3. Uh, as the main Ghostface villain. Sorry, spoilers. But yeah. Crazy. He married her. Yeah. And then 2005 officially they got married. So. But
Okay.
yeah, that's crazy. Which is it's kind of funny that every Marvel movie, like our main stars actually become couple sometimes. Uh,
It happens pretty often.
yeah, like I never knew that Kristen Dunst or Toby were dating during the first and the sequel, and of course Emma, Andrew, and then of course Zendaya and Tom now. Oh my god, so very weird. But yeah, so I think Jennifer Garner was good here. I think the romance is it's top notch, at least for a Marvel movie. But the costume they gave her, like this is where you can criticize this, especially with the first X movie. It's like they were so influenced by the Matrix,
Hmm.
with the leather and just the tech like a techno vibe, and Electro costume here is like all black, which I don't mind, but I don't know, it's okay, but I will say that her solo film actually did the red costume and it was actually great. So
Hmm.
but yeah, so that. But yeah, um, so what else we haven't mentioned? I'm trying to figure out in my notes who else we haven't mentioned. Uh,
We haven't talked about John Favreau as Foggy.
yes. Oh my God. Yeah, that's another one. Oh my God. So I think the best thing about this movie is John Farrell. Like,
He's very good. Yeah.
oh my God. Yeah, him and Ben Affleck had great chemistry, I think.
Hmm.
And I agree with you, Will, that that scene in the what do you call that?
Cafe.
Cafe, yeah. It's so fun. Like I love his this running out of the alligators in the sewers. I always laugh at that so
Hmm.
hard.
Yeah. It made me think of the Ninja Turtles, though.
Oh, I is that did he intentionally do that? Because I
No, I don't.
know,
I don't think so. That's like a common thing with New York. It's like there's
yeah,
like
yeah,
a myth of uh,
yeah,
alligators in the sewers, but
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm saying this because it's like it's such a fan theory that the kid that hosts the turtles is Matt
yeah,
as
no,
Daredevil.
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean they were created as like a parody of
Yeah, parody. Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh, I totally forgot about that. That's so funny. Yeah, and then yeah, I always laugh at that scene. It's just like yeah. Oh, so you are meaning there's alligators in this series. I love that. Like, it's so
Hmm.
funny. And then him spinning out the coffee when yeah Matt actually got the girl.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Oh, and this was recently I discovered like I didn't caught this when he was throwing the basketballs in those like small hoops in the office.
Hmm.
When he missed one, he's like swish, like just because he knows Matt is blind. He just making that noise. This just confirmed to him that he actually hit it, but
Hmm.
which is not. That's so funny. Because Matt knows he missed. But yeah, I think he was a great casting uh, as Froggy, and it's really sad he didn't continue with the role. But um, it's very funny now that he got a chance to be with another Daredevil in a movie. Like,
Hmm.
I totally forgot when I saw was it No Way Home,
Hmm.
and I think it was like last year we brought that up, and it's like when She-Hulk was teasing Daredevil, I was like, oh yeah, Freiburg had a chance to be with Daredevil again in the movie, so it's just funny. But yeah, I think Froggy is great here. Karen, I wish we had more Karen Page in this movie.
Hmm.
But I mean, just like Gwen, prior to the Amazing Spider-Man films, it's always you always pick the most popular and like the love interest currently for
Right.
your movie, and so I don't know what you can do with Karen besides just make her be a supporting character and all that,
Hmm.
so so to speak. But speaking of a great supporting character, Joel Paganino. Speaking of the Matrix, playing Ben Eric, that was a great casting. I like
Hmm.
as this movie. And I think I totally forgot that they actually did use Ben in this movie, and I think he was really good, and I think he had good chemistry in Ben Affleck. Um,
Hmm.
but I gotta say, uh, I like the one from Daredevil. I think he was good, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I think this. I think really. Uh, is there? What's your opinion on Ben Urich? Just to start wrapping these things off.
Yeah, I mean, I think he did a good job. Again, like with a movie, you're not going to get as much time with these side characters as you would in the TV show. So it
Yeah.
feels kind of unfair to compare them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I thought it was, he did a good job. Um,
Hmm.
and yeah, I mean, he had like an arc, which is nice for like a minor character.
Yeah. I
So,
agree. I agree. Uh, so let's get into the fun and grittiness of comic book references. I hold on, I'm checking my notes here. Oh, the casting before Ben Affleck. Speaking of Colin Farrell, Farrell was supposed to be Daredevil prior.
okay.
Yeah, so he was in the listing. Uh, s- there were two others, and it's kind of funny. The the other one was Matt Damon. Like they were considering
Ben
him.
Affleck's best friend.
Yeah, and it's funny. His reason to not pick it is that he didn't have the confidence. He did not felt confident about the script or the director.
Hmm.
Um, I mean,
So, so Ben Affleck should be listening to Matt Damon more, is what
yeah,
I'm.
it seems like it. But
Because
yeah,
Matt Damon usually has pretty good taste in projects, and then Ben Affleck is
hmm
very hit or miss.
yeah, that's true. That's true. And then the last individual, and this one cracked me up, was Guy Pearce. Uh, yeah,
Okay, I can
yeah,
see it.
yeah. His reason was just like at the time, I think Campo wasn't his like he wasn't right. Like he didn't feel right doing like a Campo movie at that time.
Yeah.
So
Well, they were still pretty like campy back then.
yeah, and it was prior to the Dark Knight trilogy and all that. But yeah, I can see him. He has the like bone structure for Matt, and the hair. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, which is funny. I it's kind of funny looking at it was funny that you and I had this weird argument about Charlie Cox's hair, like what's like being a little red, or well, wait,
Yeah,
like,
he has red highlights.
yeah. Here, Ben Affleck has red hair here, as dye
Yes.
here. What do you feel about that? Like, I don't mind it, but it's like kind of um, I don't know.
Oh, I thought it looked fine.
Okay,
Yeah, no,
it's
I don't think
yeah,
they needed to give him
red hair. Yeah,
red hair, but
it's just
I did notice that they did that, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
yeah.
But yeah,
I,
it looked fine. I didn't think
I
it looked too bad.
yeah. When his hair is like sort of dark, it looks better on Ben, like
Hmm.
a little bit. But when you see like the very like highlight red, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it looks
Um,
fake.
yeah, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I
Yeah,
don't know, it was a wig or like it's very like bizarre in some scenes.
yeah.
Um, but I appreciate that, but I don't feel like like you can pull off like an accurate appearance, but not feeling forced.
Hmm.
Like, I mean, Gary Oldman looks like Gordon in year one, and like you don't like just have a mustache and glasses. That's it.
Hmm.
And well, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, like it's so close, but the difference is really the height.
Right. He's like 2 feet taller.
Yeah, and I didn't realize this. It was like until I think the Wolverine,
Hmm.
um, they like cleverly did like they cleverly make Hugh's like shots like look like he's actually short, but in the films he's in,
Hmm.
and where I think because Cyclops is a little taller than Wolverine, and so when you see Cyclops, James Marsden's version, like it's like he looks a little taller because they're trying to like make that look like comic accurate. Um, which is weird, but they stopped doing that after the Wolverine, and like
Hmm.
you get proper Hugh Jackman tallness. You know, but yeah, so I think that's kind of funny that they sort of did that here. But yeah, but and I like his shade of glasses he's wearing. But I prefer the one from the Daredevil stuff
Yeah.
because I mean it's red and I dug that.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's really bizarre. Um, so I'm looking at it. It's funny. So his first appearance in Marvel is in 1964. The character.
Hmm.
Um, so that's funny. And the actresses that were considered for Elektra. So this is a big one. Penelope Cruz, Salman Haddock was considered.
Salma
That's fun.
Hayek. Yeah.
Yep, yep. Natalie Portman, uh, Lucy Liu, Jessica Alba. Uh, and then this one cracks me up. Katie Holmes.
Okay.
And then these three I'm not familiar, but speaking of Screen 3, David Campbell, who plays Cindy Scott, was considered. So,
Hmm.
uh,
Okay.
yeah, I think I can, I, 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 it's just weird because like Electra is like sort of Greek, right? Like that's her personality.
Yeah, she's Greek. Yeah, she's.
Yeah, so I
I
think,
mean, Jennifer Garner doesn't look particularly Greek either.
yeah, and I I'm trying to remember in her solo film did they sort of address that.
Okay.
I don't think so, but yeah, I mean these movies don't really address the like parentality at all. I don't think, but I need to double
Yeah.
check that. Um, I guess they do because she say Papa a couple times to her dad,
Hmm.
and it sounds like they're foreigner, but I don't know. I don't want to take it too far. So,
Yeah,
but
no, I mean, I think they explicitly said that they were from Greece in this movie.
mm, yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's yeah time where we really did whitewash a lot times. So, yeah, very awful. Uh, very funny note about the actor. Vin Diesel was the first choice for being Daredevil.
Why the first choice?
Like he will. So hold on. Yeah, he was that, and then he was also the for the role for Bullseye as well. Like simultaneously, like because they were trying to find a big actor for this Daredevil role. I don't know why.
Okay,
So I mean,
Vin Diesel.
yeah, I know it's. Oh boy. I mean, he was. I mean, Fast and the Furious. The first one was very
Yeah,
successful.
it had just come out, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it surprised everyone, and then Triple X, the 2002,
Right.
like it was a big hit as well. So I mean, it was only two roles. I know this is stereotypical, but I can see him do Lex Luthor. I mean, he feels right for that age for Lex. I prefer an older Lex. Um, Other one could be the Punisher. I think he could be a good Punisher, but that's
I don't
really it.
know. I
I don't
yeah,
know.
I can't really see Vin Diesel.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean he's Groot, obviously.
yeah, he's cool.
That's that feels about
Yeah,
right.
yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, it cracks me up that every time I see Vin Diesel like consider the role, it's sort of funny.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Okay. So let's see. Yeah. So looking at the around 15 minutes. Yeah. So Frank Miller, his cameo is when it's like quick shown when he died as Bullseye pulls away on his stolen motorcycle. That's
Mm,
funny.
okay.
So that's the thing where you see Frank Miller because he looks so young in that
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw him properly in Sin City. I don't know you seen that movie.
No.
He plays a priest, and
Okay.
he's talking to Mickey Rourke's character before he kills him. During the confession. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, and I do like the Stanley cameo here. It's funny that Matt saves him from
Hmm.
car crash.
Yeah, I thought that was fun.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah. Oh, and okay, this is funny. So I was taking my notes again. This is funny. Michael Clarke Duncan and Ben Affleck worked together before. They were in Armageddon. The
Oh,
Michael Bay film. I totally forgot they worked before. Man, so many characters to Michael Bay films. That's so weird. Uh, but yeah, it's so funny. Then okay, so let's see here. Um, I'm trying to find that references here. Okay, so so we got Kirby. We covered that. Father. Okay, so Father Everett. So this one was particularly interesting. That the father that's talking to Matt a couple times in the film,
hmm.
he's a reference to Bill Everett. There was a original artist
Okay.
that did the first issue. That I was kind of like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. That's a good way to reference that.
Hmm.
And then of course we mentioned Josh Casada is a reference to Joe Casada, the editor in chief,
Hmm.
the criminal that we saw at the beginning. This one I totally forgot that they did this, but I remember this was Colin the boxer. That's a reference to Gene Colin, the other
Hmm.
Daredevil artist that did in 66 to 74 and the
Okay.
run. So that's cool. And then um yeah, and John Romita, it was a reference to the boxer during the film. We got that, and Senior as well. Uh,
Hmm.
and then the thug. Okay, now the thug I is called Kane. So this is a reference to another Daredevil cover artist, Gil Kane. So that was a big noticeable thing. And then obviously we got the mentions of Miller, Mack, and Bendis. Frank Miller, Bendis. Okay, we got that. Dave Mack, another Daredevil artist that I didn't recognize, is that he did Daredevil in 1999 to 2001.
Okay.
So that's your huge reference of like Daredevil. um, references, so which is kind of cool. So
Hmm.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I so enjoyed this film. I mean, it's campy, but
Yeah,
I mean, I didn't have Batman yet until Batman Begins, so this was my Batman for a little bit.
yeah.
So but yeah. Oh, and I guess when we had to discuss the soundtrack, I did bought the two songs, "Bring Me to Life" and
Hmm.
the Immortality from what was that band's name? Uh, the Ever Sense something. I don't know.
Evanescence.
Yeah, yeah. I got those two songs. Iconic.
Yeah, I mean,
Um.
Bring Me to Life is like very famous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, captures somewhat the tone of the film, but I don't know.
yeah,
It
yeah,
they put it where Elektra is training. That's
yes.
really bizarre. I don't know. That's just so weird. But yeah, I hope you enjoy watching this movie.
Hmm.
I just think it's just such a perfect time capsule. What
Yeah,
was
it
going on?
really is. Yeah,
You
it
know?
really it's they perfectly captured 2003.
Yeah. Oh my God, it really does. But I mean, for compared to DC, it's crazy. Like we got Daredevil movie. I mean, this was in 2003. Like it was along with X2 and Hulk.
Hmm.
So like Marvel was like uh kicking in during that time. So that was good.
Yeah,
So I really appreciate that. Yeah, I agree with Will. It's better than the Ghost Rider movies. Um, I like things about what Mark did for the first film, but it's just not good. And I don't know why I saw it in theaters. I mean, I like the sign of Ghost Rider, but I don't know why. Oh boy! And then it's better than the Hulk, Ang Lee's Hulk. Um,
hmm,
it's better enjoyment than that film because that one's very dark and just very cerebral, but doesn't balance that correctly.
hmm.
So, but yeah, but one thing we can, I, I mean, to look back on it, I mean, it did set up the stages for the Netflix show. You know,
Yeah,
it sets up okay what Daredevil is, and when the show came, it did it better.
yeah.
So I'd really enjoy it. Um, Thank you, Will. For you have any thoughts like anything you want to bring up before we head out?
I guess I'd be interested in seeing the director's cut at some point just to see like
Oh yes,
if it improves it at all.
um, it does. Like, I'm just looking at the reviews here. Like, people say it was a better because like Kevin Feige say this was the best script they had from Mark Steven Johnson.
Oh, okay.
So, and I mean, because I think the director's cut capture what Daredevil is. Like he's a lawyer centric story slash. And I think I remember from the director's cut they actually delve in more the religion side of Daredevil.
Okay. Yeah, because there was
S-
some of that here, but not
Yeah, not
enough for it to feel like fully like Daredevil.
yeah, exactly. And so I remember that was a big focus there. Um, and I think it makes sense because with this film, because this movie is like the what do you call it, the best, like it's like a clip art of the best cover for a character slash theme.
Okay.
Like you got two major storylines from Daredevil, the death of Elektra, and then like the classic Kingpin versus Daredevil thing slash
Hmm.
Bullseye, and then you got the religious thing going that's sort of born again, but like it's half of it, and then you got this court thing. Excuse me, like beginning of it, and it's like it's all over the place. Like you got the best clips of what Daredevil is,
Yeah.
because like the Electro Death thing, like it's good, but like you should have done that in your first film. Like it should have been in a sequel.
Yeah. No, I remember like when she was dying, like out loud. I was like, they're doing this storyline.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Like I don't know. It's
yeah,
like they're really gonna like jump straight to like she comes back from the dead. Uh,
and they did in her solo film.
yeah.
Yeah, well, because after this, I think Ben felt so dis disattention from the
Hmm.
experience that he did not want to return for this role. So
I mean,
instead
that
of
makes
this,
sense.
yeah, so instead of the sequel, they focus more on the spin-off. You know,
Hmm. Yeah.
which happens. I mean, X-Men Origins of Wings, perfect example. When that happened, Magneto, the Origins Magneto, was in development, but because of what happened to that film, it got turned into a different product, and of course, we got X-Men First Class.
Right.
So it's like a common thing in these like Hollywood money machine. Like when like famously, I did not know this, but speaking of Catwoman, there was supposed to be a Michelle Pfeiffer led Catwoman movie during the 90s.
Really.
And yes, and it was by the same writer, Daniel Waters, very recluse writer. He's very recluse.
Hmm.
He's weird. He was writing it while Burton was kind of taken out from the franchise, and this
Hmm.
is where you got Joel Schumacher and all that. And he submitted during apparently the day when Batman Forever opened in 1995, and that's when the
Okay.
movie got canceled. And then it's like we got the Halle Berry version. It's
Mm.
like change of direction, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, so which is sad because I think I because this movie did make money. Like
Hmm.
I think there was potential to do a sequel, but fortunately we didn't get it. So yeah, but we got better things. So
Hmm.
you know from this movie. So, but I don't know what they could have done for a sequel. I if if Bam was committed, like I guess they could have done Born Again.
Hmm.
That like makes sense, right? Because out of that, it's like the most famous one,
Yeah.
Daredevil ones. Which I read and it's pretty good. So, so, but yeah, and and just going back to the director's cut, like we got the Kool-Aid character, like 'cause that was the big subplot they were supposed to do, and that got cut out, and that was more intriguing. So
Mm.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so yeah, much better version from this like theatrical cut. Um, like more investigation. Like it's actually what Batman v Superman is. The Ultimate Edition is like that. Like Clark Kent is doing investigation,
Mm.
and then it's like you get cut that to this more lean and mean action film. So yeah, but yeah, anything else besides that director's cut? Um,
No, that's it from me.
all right, well, thank you for going to the memory lane of 2003. Um,
Yeah.
thank
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my God, thank goodness we're not gonna do the Hulk. Thank goodness we did it last year.
Yeah.
Because we got that and X2. That will be a great conversation. So,
Hmm.
but thank you everyone for joining me and Will on another spectacular Marvel Plus talk. Of course, on Ben Affleck's Daredevil 2003 film. Of course, we'll be back again for another spectacular podcast. Have a good week, everyone.